A lot of people are probably going to get mad at me for telling this story. But when I used to work, remember I told you I was in the local unions? I used to work as a security guard at Madison Square Garden. Besides working at Shea Stadium, I worked at Madison Square Garden. Now, the money that you made was so pathetic. It was like they paid you like, I don't know, something. It was like $80 a shift, but you had to pay taxes on that. So like I don't know what you made. Maybe you cleaned $60 a night. Like it was bad, and they only like they didn't give you like a full time gig. Like you had to have seniority to have the full time. Like where you're working like five days a week. So most of the time it was part time. You're working maybe 2 days a week. Maybe if you're lucky 3 days, right? So what are you making, man? Making like 120 to whatever. $180 a week clear. It's like, Anyway, I was young. It was just I wasn't really doing it so much for the money. I was a musician, I'm a piano player. So I mean just to be around Madison Square Garden, I got a chance to meet a lot of celebrities, like I would walk the celebrities a lot of times to the stage, and I was doing it more or less just for the excitement of it. I had a chance to meet Peter Gabriel, and you know, he's a really nice guy, but totally spaced out guy, man. I was just like, because I was working the backstage. I was working like the backstage door. So, like in other words, like if you go through that door, you got Peter Gabriel, you got his whole band, his entourage, everything, right? So, I had an opportunity to meet him. I'm like, Peter Gabriel, I'm like, oh man, I'm such a big fan of yours. I'm like, you're like the greatest, man. So he said to me, the stars, and he said something very, very like deep. He goes, the way the stars are aligned in New York City tonight, he goes, is so magical and mystical. He goes, it's just so touching and so, it's like enchanting. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, what is this guy talking about? It's like, he was high on something, but that's the way he spoke. He didn't speak like a regular like person, like like how you doing. It's just like enchanting, magical. So this is the first time I'm going to tell you. I'm going to get to the point of the story. So I'm working the back door. Everybody, there was like lines of people that wanted to get in, but I had a list. So if your name was not on the list, you don't get in. Gabi Shoge. So people came to me, hey, my name is Joe Blow, my name is this. Well, if I check if their name was on the list, I'd let them in. Say party of two, party of three. Okay. So this girl comes up to me, right? Young girl, pretty good looking girl, right? She comes up to me, she's like, listen, my name is not on the list. She started touching my arm and touching my hand. I didn't understand what was going on, right? And she kept touching my hand. Next thing I know, I started feeling something. I felt like paper. So she slipped like, money in my hand, right? She's like, just please let me in, please let me in. So I looked in my hand and I saw $100 bill. So, I had to make what's called an executive decision. I had to make an executive call. I looked at her, she looked at me, I went like this. Go in. So I let her in, right? So later when I took my break, like an hour later, I looked in my hand. It was $300 she gave me. I thought it because I only saw the one, but there were two more $100 bills inside. She gave me $300, right? So then I started putting two and two together. I really got to be careful what I say here because I could get a lot of people in trouble. I got to watch out. Let's just say that the security guards at Madison Square Garden were making money in various ways. You understand? I can just leave it at that. There was a lot of crazy shit going on there. Again, it's entertainment purposes only. I'm an entertainer. I don't want to get anybody in trouble. But anyway, I had a chance to see some really wild things at Madison Square Garden. I was at a Fish concert, right? And I never will forget this as long as I live. There was like a guy that was on like there was like the third level. He was like in the upper deck level, and he actually jumped. I never will forget this. He jumped from the third level, and you're talking a gigantic jump there. and fell to the ground. I thought he died or something, at least broke his legs. And he was so like high, I guess, on cocaine or something, right? The guy got up and started dancing. Like he almost hit me, by the way. I almost freaked out, like, cause I didn't even see. I saw him coming down from the upper deck right at the last minute. He almost like hit me. So he falls down and just starts breaking out dancing. Like, what the heck is going on, right? Then I was at a Guns N' Roses concert. There was a big guy, even bigger than me, big. Had to be like 400 plus pounds. I mean, I'm a big guy, but this guy was bigger than me. And he was screaming so loud. It was like there were people complaining that were like kind of like next to him. Like, even though the music was so loud, this guy was louder almost than the music. Yeah, welcome to the jungle. We got fun and games. We got everything you want, and we know the names. Whatever, right? He's screaming, right? So, like, the music was so loud that I was trying to tell him to like calm down, but he couldn't hear me. I'm like, calm down. He's like screaming, ah! You know what I mean? So 10, 15 minutes goes by. The guy faints. He falls off like, he falls down to the floor. I thought he was dead. We called 911. He was alive. He just, I guess, so much with the screaming, maybe, I don't know, it caused him to faint or something. I don't know. The guy was unconscious. Oh, man, I experienced some really crazy things in my life. There was this time when I was at Shea Stadium, right? There was this buffoon he had all these old English bottles. Like, I don't even know how what the funny thing is? Like, I don't know how you're not supposed, he obviously brought this in. He snuck it in because you're supposed to buy the concessions. You're supposed to buy the hot dogs, the beer. This was old English. We didn't say, we would put the beer in the plastic cups. You got me? So he had like all these bottles of old English. So he must have snuck them in. But anyway, he's drinking, and I'm watching him because I'm patrolling. He's taking the empty bottles and he's throwing them onto the baseball field. So I'm like, he kept doing it, like to a second bottle, a third bottle. He almost hit one of the players. So I went to him. I'm like, look, I was trying to be nice, Stop what you're doing, all right? You can't be throwing bottles onto the baseball field. He told me, go after myself. I said, go after myself. Now, I didn't expect this to happen, because I had the walkie-talkie. I went to walkie-talkie. I explained, look, we got a little bit of problem here, whatever. What's going on, Rich? I'm like, there's this freaking guy, this buffoon. He's throwing old English bottles onto the baseball field. I told him to stop. He told me to go after myself. He said, where are you? What's your 20? That's what they used to call it, like your location. What's your 20? I'm in right field. I'm in the section E, whatever. Right? So next thing I know, like 20 security guards, right, came running. They had the NYPD too. Some of them were working on the Shea Stadium shifts too. Like 3, 4 cops came. They grabbed this guy. Boom! They grabbed this guy like this. They took him. They pulled, like, the movie Casino with the cowboy, remember, who had his, he had his shoes off and he had his socks out. And they said, listen, sir, can you please put your shoes back on? And he told him, he goes, F you. He told Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro told the security guys, I want you to get this guy, pick him up, take his head, blast his head against the door and kick him out. That is exactly what they did to this guy. They grabbed him. They picked him up. I was like this. They blast his head against the exit door. They just blasted this guy. They threw him out. It was the greatest thing I've ever seen in my life. Oh, anyway, I'm just sharing stories with you of my life, Hope you enjoyed them.